the most confidential knowledge. The Supreme Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence." Okay, so question. Please raise your hand. Why is Arjuna chosen? Because what is there in Arjuna? What quality is there in Arjuna? According to this verse, that Krishna is going to reveal the most confidential knowledge to him and no one else. According to 9.1, this verse. And if you can explain that quality a little bit more. Shri Raksha Mataji, yes, Sai Krishna.
Because Arjuna is not envious of Krishna.
And envious of Krishna, yes, thank you so much. So what is the meaning of the word envy? Anybody?
Yeah, envious is like if you have anything, I like the thing you have, but I don't like that you have it.
Did you attend the 6 a.m. class too?
No,
Yes.
ma'am, I was attending your last class, July 18.
Ah, acha, acha. So I'm like a tape recorder repeating the same thing. Thank you. Yes. So because you're never envious of me. So envy is such a quality that cannot be doubted to Krishna's service. This verse has three key things. What are the three key things? Arjuna is chosen because he's non-envious of Krishna. Okay, and then one becomes advanced in hearing about Krishna, and also when one understands Krishna and understands one relationship with Krishna and the activities that it has, so sambandha abhidaya prayojan, which I will reveal in next chapter. What happens? One becomes relieved of miseries of material existence. There is no other way. We cannot solve our material problem by another material thing, because we will give rise to another material problem in solving that. Um, so, so it has to be spiritual. So three things again. Krishna is choosing Arjuna because he is non-envious. When one hears about Krishna, then what happens? They become advanced in spiritual knowledge just by hearing about Krishna, and one becomes relieved of the miseries of material existence. So that is why it is very important. There are so many anarthas which are in the heart of a living entity, which does not cause taste about hearing for Krishna. You see, we have so many tastes in life, so many likes, dislikes, hobbies, but very few will have a taste to hear about Krishna. But in reality, everybody belongs to Krishna. Sarvayonishu Kanteya Aham Bija Pradapitaha. He says, of all the living entities, I am the seed giving father. So we should all be interested in hearing about Krishna, but we are not. It's a work. Why? Because there are misgivings in the heart. So all sorts of misgivings can be dovetailed in Krishna's service. For example, uh, the greed. The greed can be dovetailed to Krishna's service by becoming greedy to make people Krishna conscious, to open temple for Krishna, or to make sure that the worship of Krishna is magnanimously going on. See, that greed can be dovetailed. Anger can be dovetailed, as Lord Hanuman did, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry at Jagai Madai when they were attacking Nityananda Prabhu. So to defend a Vaishnava, one must become angry. One must become angry, or at least leave the place where this such an offense is going on. Otherwise, we become a party to it. So the anger can also be doubted. Like that, all other anarthas can be doubted, but envy is something which cannot be doubted. Cannot be. So as much as I am envious, that much away Krishna will remain from me. Okay, so another question which you all think, and I'll say the next shloka. The first two shlokas are foundation of the chapter. Most secret wisdom. Okay, what is so secretive about this wisdom? If I have to keep a secret from someone, I will keep it inside me, or I will keep it locked up, right? In my house or somewhere. It will be locked up. No one will know because it's a secret. So, but Bhagavad Gita is available everywhere. You see, Bhagavad Gita you can buy. Bhagavad Gita you can download for free from iskonbangalore.com. You can read at vedabase.io. We are discussing it in public forum. So what is the secret? So please think about it, and I will tell second verse. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmayam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. The Rajaguhyam means secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives the direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So, 5 things are happening in this shloka. This somebody is unmuted. Please mute yourself. I don't want to enforce mutation or muting on people. So please be self-conscious and please mute yourself. And then when I'm not talking, you can tell me, please mute yourself, Mataji. Then I'll mute myself. Okay. So the 5 things are happening in this verse. What are the 5 things? That this is the king of all education. Another question, why is Krishna saying that this is king of all education? Why is the degree of a doctor or degree of an engineer or degree of a Indian administrative service officer or degree of big degrees are there in this world? Why is that not king of education? Why is this a king of education? And again, my question, the second thing is secret of all secrets. So, okay, and the third thing which is happening is purest knowledge. Why is it pure? Because it gives relief from all 4 types of sinful reactions. If a sun goes to an infected area, the sun does not get infected because of the sun does not get contaminated. Rather, the place gets purified, right? Where the sun is, because it is so pure. Similarly, when someone cultivates Krishna consciousness, they surely get rid of 4 types of sinful reactions. What are the 4 types of sinful reactions? We studied Prarabdha, Phalan, Mukha, Kuta, Bija, nectar of devotion. Rupa Goswami Prabhupada talks about it. That 4 types of sinful reaction for which we are suffering right away, and for reactions which are just taking time to fructify, but very soon they will be fructified, and 2 other which are further dormant, Kuta and Bija, which will take part, which will come into existence a little later. Okay, and then it gives direct perception of the self by realization. So it gives the knowledge about one's real identity. And 5th thing, and it is a perfection of religion, because it gives direct perception of self by realization. It is the perfection of realization. Okay, and 5th thing is it is everlasting and joyfully performed. It's not that you can do it for 1 day and 2 days and then you have to wait so long. Every moment to moment, someone can be very happy if they are as much as one is realized, that much that person is happy and fully convinced of this knowledge, joyfully perform. So answer my question, raise your hand please. Why is this a king of education? What about other educations? And what is the secret in this? What's the secret? Rajaguhyam, secret of all secrets. Please raise your hand. Anvaya Mataji, you are unmuted. You have an answer? Yes, Aishwarya Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think it's like because this knowledge is given to the soul, and even if we transmigrate to another being, means after death, this knowledge is not lost, because this material knowledge, like again, if we take a birth again we have to start from LKG, UKG, like that. But this knowledge is like permanent, and I think that's why it's the Raja, the king of knowledge.
Okay, thank you. And what about, why is it a secret of all secrets? What's the secret? Yes, Ravi Prabhu, what's the secret, or what is your take?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I think it's, I didn't understand the secret out here, but I feel it is the direct perception. It gives a direct perception, as if the rays of the sun are directly falling you in the context of an example. If the sun rays are directly falling on you, so you feel that the energy in you, right? So even I think that this Raja Guhyam or the Raja Yoga will also give the direct perception instead of a lot of confusion and other stuff.
Yes, perfect understanding. Yes, But don't say I think. It is no confusion, no thought required, because here he's saying himself. It gives direct perception of the self by realization. Okay, as your teacher, I'm just trying to reinforce your faith. So yes, you're right. Anybody else? Yes, Sarveshwara Shyamsundar Das Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna Prabhu.
So it is most secret because it describes the eternal activities of the soul, which
Yes.
Professor writes in the purport. So that's why it is the most secret of all secrets, Mataji.
Yes. And why is it the king of all knowledge?
Because it is the essence of all philosophies that are existing, because
Yes.
it is the knowledge of the soul.
Yes. Thank
Because
you, Prabhu.
all other knowledges are giving the knowledge about the body, actually, material body.
Yes. Yes. Very nice answer. Thank you. And Maya Mataji, what do you have to say? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, it is secret of all secrets because secret is given only to someone who you know will make it useful for himself. I mean, secret is something you don't tell anyone. Here, what I mean to say is Arjuna is a patra. Patra means he is most suitable to receive this knowledge. Otherwise, Krishna would have told everyone. He would have first told Duryodhan. So there wouldn't have been any fight. So it is such a secret that he wanted it to go to a suitable person, and that suitable person, having made use of it, can later on spread the knowledge to everyone. Because if Arjuna only doesn't understand what
Yes,
Krishna
yes,
is talking about,
Yes.
you know, then what is the use of telling him the secret?
Yes, so you explained very well the meaning of the word secret. Yes, but my question is, you're right, Mataji, that and your explanation is very nice.
King
Go ahead.
of all education means this is like one chapter, or in this each and every shloka which is given. If you are going to follow it, you don't have to do anything else. You know, like supposing if you need something from the king to approach his minister, they will say yes, no. But sometimes if you approach the king by the way of mercy, he'll give you whatever you want. You know, so having that one degree, you get the benefits of everything. Like you have explained, no, Indian Administrative Service, engineer, doctor. So finally, the aim of to get educated and to get high degrees is one thing is to get power, and the other thing is money. So this is one thing that you can get everything, power, money, or whatever you want. I mean, in the material way, but I'm speaking in the spiritual way. You will get relief from all the miseries, and you will go to his abode by understanding.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So this knowledge is the king of education. I got very many different views. Thank you so much. Yes, it gives knowledge of the soul and not the body. So it is the king of education. No other education system is doing that. And also, the other so-called education is not education. It is skill. It's a skill. I have a certain skill, someone has a certain amount of skill, and that skill is only used to maintain the body. It does not touch the soul. You know, what is the basic reason for educating oneself so much? What is the basic reason? The basic reason is so that I can get a high paying job, or I can make a lot of money, and I can live comfortably in this world. So that's a skill. It's just living. Education means one that can give relief from four miseries: that's birth, death, old age, and disease. So those miserable conditions, none of these titles are going to give. That is why it is king of education. I'm just summarizing of what all your things, all you said. Secret of all secrets. Krishna said he is revealing it to Arjuna, but the whole chapter it is revealed to us also. Does anyone know the amazing shloka from second chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Amazing. Some see soul as amazing. Does anybody know? Yes, Sarveshwar Shamsundar Prabhu, your hand is raised. You know that.
Mataji, I'm sorry, it's from the previous. Actually, I'm not getting the sloka. Can you
Yes,
say initial?
second chapter Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is describing the properties of soul, there comes one shloka which
Hare
is called
Krishna.
amazing. Yes, Prabhu, I can hear you.
Yes, Mataji. Can you tell the initial line or initial word, Mataji, of that
No,
sloka?
I don't want you to tell the shloka. Just tell the
Okay.
meaning of this verse. Translation, what does it mean?
No, Mataji. I'm so sorry. I don't know.
No worries, Prabhu. No. So amazing shloka. It says that Ashwarya Mataji, you know? Yes, Mataji. Please unmute yourself.
It says that the soul cannot be wet with water or
No, that's a quality. That's Nainam Chidanti Shastrani, Nainam Dhati Pavaka. That's the quality. This particular verse has amazing word. So Krishna tells Arjuna that some people look at the soul as amazing, some hear about it as amazing, and some perceive it as amazing. But even after even after finding it so amazing, hardly anyone can really understand it. So see, people are hearing, seeing, describing it as amazing, but where is the understanding? That way, this whole chapter, yes, Krishna is going to reveal the secret to all of us, but who's understanding? Very few will understand. Why? Why? What is secret in it? What is the secret key to understand this chapter? Is the devotional service. I can read it, I can memorize it, I can talk about it, but unless and until I personally serve Krishna, I will not be able to realize it. So that's the secret. Okay. So purest, you all should be able to answer. But what is the purest part of it? So we'll go to the next verse. By the way, first 10 shlokas are glories of the knowledge about Krishna. Then middle 14, from verse 11 to verse 25 is ways to approach Krishna, and then 26 to 34 is sweetness of exclusive devotion service. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of force, but return to birth and death in this material world. So Krishna is asking faith, and that is the key to enter into devotional service. If I am doubting, oh, is Krishna God? Having a question is different thing. Question means tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshyanti tadgyanam jnanina tatpadarshina. That's like questioning is recommended, that you approach a spiritual master, serve them, and humbly put your question. But doubting and challenging is something else. So that person who's doubting, there is not faithful. The element of faith is missing. So who's not faithful on the path of devotion service cannot attain me. Krishna is revealing both aspects, who can attain and who cannot attain. Oh, conquer foes, but return to birth death in this material world. Okay, now be ready for some apparent controversies. Let me see how much are you able to perceive. These are not controversies. These are inconceivable potencies of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, let me reveal in front of you. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Okay? By me, in my unmanifested form, means in the universal form of Krishna, we will see that everything in this universe is resting on him. And he says that all beings are in me, but I'm not in them. And yet, this is 9.5. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. As the mighty wind blowing everywhere always rests in ethereal space, know that in the same manner all beings rest in me. Okay, so I will bring out the point and you bring up the discussion. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me. I am not in them. So when I was reading it, I said, wait a minute. But in 7th chapter, 7th verse, he says something else. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests on me as pearls are strung on a thread. That's what he says in 7.7. Remember, I told you if you see a necklace of pearls, and the pearls are like making a very nice necklace, but we know that there is a thread behind those pearls, which on which the pearls are resting. And if the thread is broken, the pearls are going to disperse, right? We know. Like that, everything is resting in Krishna. That's what he's. But in this verse, he says, "Yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of living entities, although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. As the mighty wind blowing everywhere always rests in the ethereal space, know that in the same manner all beings rest in me." Sometimes he's saying rest in me, sometimes he's saying not rest in me. Tadekam vada. Okay, what does it mean? Yes, anybody? If you have reference from the Shastras, then that will be appreciated. What potency of Krishna is explained. This is first secret. There are many
Hare
secrets.
Krishna, Mataji.
Hi Krishna.
Yeah, according to me, according to my knowledge, or my way of putting this forth, it is from milk you make curds, from curds you make butter, from butter you make ghee. All essential. It has started from milk, but milk is not present in ghee. Milk is not present in curds. Milk is not present in butter. So likewise, but milk, without milk, the three will not happen: curds, butter and ghee. You cannot just,
Okay,
it
I got
cannot
it.
happen.
Yes,
So
that's a nice way to look at
that
it.
way, Krishna is there in each one of us, but it's hidden. Like, you have to buy the devotional service, and when he bestows mercy on us, only then his form is revealed to us, or the truth.
Okay, thank you Mataji. Thank you, very
Yeah,
nice.
I don't know
Elaborate.
whether it's correct, but this is what I always think. Or the other consecutive one parallel I want to give you is, see, there is, when it rains, why it rains? Because the water vapor condenses and you get rain. You can see rain, but there is sometimes water vapor is there in the air. Throughout it is there in the air. Can we see the water vapor? Water vapor is present. We can see only when it's raining. The
I
condensed
think
form
you're
of
you're
water.
you're you're mixing up a little bit. If I will, because I didn't want to interrupt you before. The milk and curd and butter and ghee example that is given in two different places. One is milk and curd is uh, fifth chapter Brahma Samhita, I think verse number 45, where milk is like Krishna and curd is like Lord Shiva. So and Prabhupada uses another example in Srimad Bhagavatam where it is called chikitsitam. Like drinking a lot of milk causes diarrhea, but the same product coming out of milk, like yogurt, is a treatment for diarrhea. So chikitsitam. So one part of the thing causes problem, and the other part of the same thing causes treatment. So I have heard Srila Prabhupada, and I would like to quote them or the other leaders of ISKCON and Shastra. So I have not heard, but it is a good. Let me give a little bit of a thought and get back to you with some references. But over here, what potency is revealed is Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva means simultaneously one and different. It's a inconceivable potency of Krishna. Krishna is saying that I am present in everybody. Everybody is present in me, but at the same time, I am away. At the same time, I'm away. So what does it mean? It means that Krishna is present in every atom in the form of Paramatma, right? Kshirodaksha Vishnu is present in every atom. But at the same time, he in his original form of two-handed form is busy in Goloka Vrindavan enjoying. So he's at the same time present and at the same time he's absent. So that's Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. This will come again in 10th chapter, and this will come again in 15th chapter. Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, potency of Krishna is explained here. And Achintya, for example, if someone is a very rich person, billionaire, so they are situated in one corner of the world, but by their potency, they are making so many big industries all across the globe. We can't say that they are personally present in each and every industry, but they are present by their energy, by artha, by their money. At the same time, they are also present personally in one particular corner of the world. So this is called achintya bheda bheda tattva. That I am create everything is that everything that is created does not rest in me. Over here, does not rest in me means it does not rest in the two-handed form of Krishna. Behold my mystic opulence, although I am maintainer of all living entities, although I am everywhere. So he's everywhere in as Shirodaksha Vishnu, as his plenary expansion. Still, myself is the very source of creation. This is this particular aspect of the shloka is refuting the Mayavad philosophy. Srila Prabhupada says that Mayavad philosophy is that I have this paper. So when I rip this paper, okay, and I throw here, the original paper is lost. Like that, they think that when Krishna expands himself into so many things, original Krishna is lost. But Krishna himself is refuting it that still, although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. Means even though I have created so many things, I am still present in complete self as a person. Okay, and Isopanishad also talks about it. I mean, I can go on and on, but I just want to give one basic thing which you all must understand if you are going to go deep in this chapter, that Krishna is simultaneously present and simultaneously not present. Simultaneously. I am sitting here. Okay, so simultaneously, I am not somewhere else in the house. I'm not in my kid's room. I'm not in the kitchen. I am sitting here, right? But Krishna is present everywhere and also present in Goloka Vrindavan. Same. So by me, in my unmanifest form, oh, I'm sorry, this we did. The whole cosmic order is under me, but my will, it is manifested again and again, and by my will, it is annihilated at the end. So someone may ask, Big Bang theories, everything came on its own. No, sir, not everything came on its own. Krishna is saying, by my will, it is manifested, and by my will, it is annihilated. So Krishna did it. Oh, Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached, seated as though neutral. Please memorize this shloka. Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharan hetu nanena kanteya jagat viparivartate. Maya adhyakshena prakriti. Adhyakshena means supervision. Maya means my. Prakriti means material nature. Suyate sacharacharan is creating chara and achara. Chara means moving, achara means non-moving. Under my supervision, this material nature is producing moving and non-moving entities. This material nature is working under my direction, or Sanat Kunti, and it is producing all moving and non-moving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So we cannot say that nature is working independent. Nature is working under supervision of Krishna, and nature is providing us everything because Krishna is ordering her to do it. So nature is Prakriti, Krishna is Purusha, and this will be more elaborately explained in chapter 13. Avajanati mama mudha. So who will not understand Krishna? Who will speculate about Krishna? And not only speculate, but be very attached to that speculation. Will not open the Shastras, will not listen to Sadhu, will not listen to Guru. I have come across in my career in Krishna consciousness, I have come across people who say that God is in my heart, so I'm carrying God everywhere and I know everything and all. I don't need all these things to help me because God is inside me. Why do I need to hear anything else? So what Krishna says about them? Yes, God is within me, but am I able to perceive him? If I am able to perceive him, then I should not be suffering. But because the very fact that I'm suffering and I'm feeling the suffering, then we have to be like, we have to take consultation from other people, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Person has to be thoroughly honest. See, the Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita are for people who are thoroughly honest. Thoroughly honest. It says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Pratishloka Abhaddavati Api Namani Anantasya Yashuantikani. Yes, Shanvanti Gayanti Grihanti Sadhava. So in that it is explained that this is for people who, even though imperfectly composed, there may be grammatical mistakes, imperfectly composed, but this knowledge is relished by people who are thoroughly honest. That I am in problem, I am in trouble. That is one honesty. So, but who is not going to be understanding Krishna? Avajananti mama mudha, manushim tanumashritam, param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. See, when Krishna was present himself on earth, how many people really did know that Krishna is God? Hardly any, handful. When Krishna was present, he was roaming around. Everybody was able to see him, but how many could realize him? Or if Krishna comes right now in front of me or anybody, will they be able to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead has come? No, because the heart is impure. So when Krishna comes or when Krishna came, the foolish people thought that Krishna's body and my body, no difference. No difference. Krishna takes birth, Krishna dies, Krishna grows old, has disease. That's what they thought. And that's why they could not realize Krishna. But that's wrong. Krishna's body is Sat Chit Ananda. It's not Nirananda, Asat, and full of miseries. Moghasha, Mogha Karmano, Mogha Jnana Vicetasaha, Rakshashim Asurim Chaiva Prakriti Mohinim Shitaha. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. So such a person is living a life of loss. Well, a great loss. What is the great loss? That having obtained a human body, could not understand who's Krishna. Having obtained a sound intelligence, having obtained all the resources to understand Krishna, still could not understand. Still did not take the advantage. I think I said this. The Manushya Janma Paya, Radha Krishna Na Bhajiya, Chaniya Shunya Vishav Khaya. This is the opinion of the Shastras. That person is condemned. Why? My Guru Maharaj gives an example. Let's say that somebody is, the Acharyas brought this knowledge to us. Srila Prabhupada spent tireless amount of years, time to give us this knowledge, but I am very busy. I'm very busy in maintaining my body, my extended bodies of my family, or I'm very busy in maintaining my nation. I'm very busy in maintaining a job. I have no time. Yes, Krishna will give no time. Time is under the control of Krishna. Nothing is independent of Krishna. That person is busy because that person has no taste, no question, no inclination. So Krishna will stay hidden. So please come out. And my Guru Maharaj gives an example. Let's say that someone is going on the street and is very poor, but by chance they do some good deed to a person, and that person is a millionaire. Now that millionaire wants to give some gifts as thank you to this poor person. And this poor person, if he doesn't have intelligence, then what will they do? What will they do? They will say, oh, you want to give me some gift? All right. I want to watch a movie. Can you buy me a movie ticket? I say, okay, I can buy you much more than that. Ask me more. More than that? Okay, then maybe buy me popcorns and soda with it. See, that's so mudha that Krishna can give liberation from material existence. We can go back to Krishna. We can be with Krishna. But what is most people wanting? Oh, I want some relief. Can you give me money? Can you give me this? Can you give me that? Sorry. Please memorize this shloka. Mahatmanas tumam partha devim prakritim ashritaha bhajante ananya manasu gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. So those who are deluded are condemned to birth and death. Those who are not deluded are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. The activity of a Vaishnava is very difficult to understand. Vaishnava, Kriya, Mudra are very, very difficult to understand. Common man cannot understand that how can someone be so like joyful in just chanting Hare Krishna. They will say, watch a movie, na, buy something, na, go to the market, taste so many things. What is this Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna? Whole day you're doing 2 hours a day, every day you're doing Hare Krishna. Because they cannot understand. It's so bewildering. And because they are not under the protection of divine energy, they are unprotected by their own mental concoction, unprotected, no shelter, not seeking Krishna's shelter. Very, very dangerous situation to be in. So what is happening here? And I'll give you one example of this divine example energy from my experience. So I have a friend. She's the Indian Foreign Service officer. So when she was posted in New York, one time we were traveling back together, and I was complaining to her, oh my God, like when we land, I'll have to go through such a big security check, and I'm so tired, such a long flight, and then baggage claim area will be like another big deal. So she said, oh, you have to go through security check? We don't have to go through security check. I have, I don't know what she said, grade A passport or something. So we don't go through security check. We land when we directly go to the baggage claim area. I understood that because that particular person is working on behalf of Indian government and representing Indian government, there is an element of faith. So other country is not interfering, is not doubting that person. Whereas, so that way, this person who is a Mahatma is under the divine protection. Maya is not touching. Okay, you have passed all exams, you're done. You just serve Krishna. But other person who is not has to undergo so many tests and trials. So what is happening in this verse? Someone had raised hand. Yes, Aishwarya Mataji, what is happening here? What is this painting?
Madhavendra Puri.
Do you know the pastime?
Yes, he's a pure devotee of Krishna and he always calls his holy name. And one day he was fasting and going in a forest, and then he was fasting the whole day. And a small boy, he comes with a pot of milk and he gives to him. And his Madhavendra Puri is like, how do you know I'm fasting and who sent you? No, in my village, nobody fasts, and my mother told to give this. And then finally he realized that was Gopal, and he gets a dream that Gopal was hidden inside, and then he placed him in Govardhan Hill. And you can
Yes.
tell that.
Yes, thank you so much. Very nicely told. Yes. So this is the Mahatma who is under the protection of Devi Prakriti, or the Devi Prakriti means divine nature, Mahamaya. So he's, so as Mataji said rightly, Madhavendra Puri is the spiritual master of Ishwara Puri, and Ishwara Puri is the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we come in the lineage of Madhavendra Puri or a Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Madhavendra Puri was one day, he was so exalted that he was actually away from the pangs. There are 6 forces which pull a living entity, and hunger and thirst are one of them. He was not touched by hunger and thirst because he was so exalted. So if someone will give him something to eat or drink, he will honor it. Otherwise, he will simply fast and fully satisfied. Again, not to be copied, but we can pray to Madhavendra Puri. And Krishna comes as a small boy, Gopal, and he says, Baba, I have brought this milk pot for you. As Mataji said, in my village, no one fasts. My mother told you you're fasting, so drink this milk. But make sure you save the pot, because I have to go and to take my cows to the pasturing grounds. But I want the pot back. My mother will be very unhappy if I don't take that pot back. Okay, so keep it. I'll come back. So he gives the instruction like that. And then Madhavendra Puri drinks the milk, waits for the boy to come back. He doesn't come back. So he keeps the pot, and then in the night he's resting. So he gets a dream that same boy comes and reveals that I'm Gopal. I am hidden. I have been waiting when Madhavendra Puri will come. I am hidden in the bushes. There was an attack by Afghan rulers, and the priest who was taking care of me hid me in the bushes. So go there, this direction, relieve me and establish me, and give me relief from these thorns which are touching my body. So Madhavendra Puri gets up and feels very overwhelmed. Actually, he feels guilty that he took service from Krishna. And he calls for the people in the village and goes in the direction where Krishna had told in the dream, and the deity was there. And the pastime goes on, but who is that deity? Does anyone know who that deity is? That deity is Srinathji. That's how Srinathji was discovered. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha drida vrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination. pouring down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Vidha Vrataha. That determination is not of this world. That determination is a gift from Krishna. That yes, you want to serve me, I will give you everything. I am the father. Pitaham yasya jagato. Mata dhata pitamaha. Vedyam pavitram omkara rik samayajur evacha. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sam, and the Yajur Vedas. Krishna is revealing his opulences. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and most dear friend. I am the creation and annihilation. So both are Krishna's energies, creation and annihilation. The basis of everything, resting place, and eternal seed. Arjuna, I control heat and the rain and drought. I am immortality and also death. So Krishna is immortality. He can increase the duration of someone, and he is also the death. Mrityu sarve harescha aham. Whoever do not surrender to Krishna in their lifetime, then Krishna comes in the form of death and takes away everything. Mrityu sarve harescha aham. Both being and non-being are in me. Basically, Krishna is telling, now God is everywhere. How can you say, okay, quote these verses. This is how Krishna is everywhere. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Somjus, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Okay, so somebody studies the Vedas, but does not reach the goal of the Vedas. That is the Vedas so that I can get something out of it for my own. Okay, we get something which we want, and at the most what we want, go to the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They go there, Krishna sends them, go down, go up. Sorry, when they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, they return to this mortal world, mortal planet again. Thus, through the Vedic principles, they achieve only flickering happiness. Flickering hota hai. Chapala sukha labh lagi hai. Sometimes it is there, sometimes it is not there. Constant happiness, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, the one that goes on increasing, that is only possible in association with Krishna. But why they're studying the Vedas, but why are they not achieving Krishna? Why? What is the reason? They thus enjoy heavenly sense pleasure, and after that enjoyment is over, come back. Why are they stuck? Anybody? Why are they stuck? Some Veda vad rata. Veda vad rata means the knower of the Vedas should be able to reach Krishna, but why is that person not reaching Krishna? Why is that person reaching Indra Loka or at the most Brahma Loka? Why? Because they don't reach the goal of Vedas. Vedeshcha sarve aham eva vedya. So Vedeshcha sarve aham eva vedya. The goal of the Vedas is to understand the Krishna. Aham eva vedya. But such a person is bewildered. Sorry, I have a very. Such a person is bewildered and approaches the Vedas in an attitude that I want something. So if I want something other than Krishna, then okay, take it, whatever you want. But a devotee does not want anything. That's what, no, namo akinchana vittaya, nivritta guna vittaya, akinchana vittaya. Krishna is the property of the impoverished. Ananyas chintayanto mam te jana parupashyate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshema vahami aham. So this is like LIC, Life Insurance Corporation of India. They stole this, right? Yogakshema vahami aham. But those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So Krishna becomes the caretaker. One does not need to carry the anxiety that how will I carry on my Krishna consciousness? How will I do it? Krishna will preserve what I've done, and Krishna will provide what I'm lacking. And amazing realizations a devotee can have. And who is practicing Krishna consciousness must have some realizations where Krishna provided what we lack and Krishna preserved what we have. But again, he's saying, Ye api anya devata bhakta yajati shraddhayan vitaha te api mam eva kanteya yajati avidhi purvakam. Whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone. but it is offered without true understanding. See, if someone wants a very beautiful wife, okay, worship Mother Uma. Someone wants a very healthy body, worship Sun God. Someone wants a great education, worship Mother Saraswati. But a intelligent person will directly go to Krishna, because all the demigods are also deriving their powers from Krishna. So Krishna wants that we directly approach him. Why? Because we belong to him only. We don't belong to anywhere else. Prabhupada gives example. He was in Beverly Hills in California, and he had done the morning walk, and he saw that there was a office. I'm sorry, there was a big mansion, and a car stopped there in the morning, and the boy who came out of the car looked like a hippie. So Prabhupada gave lecture that day, and he said, "See, the father is so rich, but the boy is becoming a hippie. Father will say, now, my child, you have everything. I can give you everything. Good education, good work. Please make your life perfect. Why are you going on the street and hunting for some other pleasure? Why not just like stay in the family?" Like that, we have become hippie here, there. The intelligent person will go to the father. Yanti deva vrita devan pitrin yanti pitrvataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti mad yajino api mam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship ancestors go to ancestors. And those who worship me will live with me. So it's not that whatever we do, the goal is the same. It's not that. Last night I was reading Nishad. There is a mantra also. I think it's mantra 13. That whatever, it's not that whatever we do, the goal is same. It is not. Whatever I'm doing, that result I'm going to get. That is what it is according to Bhagavad Gita. Worship demigod, go to demigods. Worship ghosts and spirits, stay with them. Worship ancestors, go to their planets. But who worship Krishna will live with me. And how difficult is it to worship Krishna? Not difficult at all. Why? Because this is what he wants. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahartam asnani prayatat manaha. If one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. So Krishna wants love and devotion, and with love and devotion, if someone can give him a leaf, which part of the world a leaf is not available? Okay, one may say Antarctica, no leaf. Okay, there'll be some water, offer that. There'll be some fruit, some flower, offer it to Krishna with love and devotion, and he's saying, I accept it. Did I tell about Krishna's pastime when Krishna was invited by Duryodhana before Mahabharata? Did I tell about that pastime? But he went to Vidra's house. Yes? Yes or no? You can write to me.
Yes, Mataji, you told.
Thank you. You see, in that pastime, Krishna could have, if Krishna was greedy to taste different preparations, he could have gone to Duryodhana. But Krishna is greedy for our love and devotion. So he goes to eat the banana peels off from the hands of a devotee. So better to become a devotee because that's our natural constitutional position. Yat karoshi, yad ashnashi, yad johoshi dadasi, yat tapasyasi konteya, tat kurushva mad arpanam. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. So don't forget Krishna. Rupa Goswami gives two instructions, one positive, one negative. Negative, don't forget Krishna. Positive, always remember Krishna. Don't forget him, always remember him. So he says like that in Nectar of Devotion. Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshu asti na priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai teteshu chapiyaham. I envy no one. I am partial to, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. So Krishna is equally available. Krishna is not partial. Some people say now they blame God. God is so partial, has made someone so rich, so beautiful, so educated, and the other person is not so, whatever. But Krishna himself is saying, I am equal, I'm not partial. but one has to approach him. I'll give you example and then you tell me the answer. For example, if I want to know whether it's sun, whether it's day or night, all I have to do is open the window and see outside whether it's day or night, right? But but if there is a person who loves to live in a dark room, black color walls, black curtains, and does not want to open the window, and if you ask that person that whether it's day or night, then if that person answers, oh, that is the fault of sun, the sun is partial, he doesn't come here, is that a proper answer? Whose problem is it? Whether they don't know whether it's day or night, whose problem is it? Please raise your hand and tell me, whose problem is it? Dhananjay Kopal Prabhu, yes Prabhuji, you can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Mataji. It is the problem with the person who is saying it, with the
Yes.
black curtains.
Yes, thank you so much. So Krishna is available to all. All. He's not available to only to a yogi who's going to Himalayas and doing severe austerities, or only to a person who is cultivating so much Vedic knowledge. He's saying all. But I am not one, I am the one who's not accepting him. I'm the one who's not taking advantage of the situation and making my life perfect. So Krishna, we cannot blame. अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजन्ते माम अनन्य भाग साधुरेव समन्तव्य सम्यक विवासितो हि saha. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. So this is a very deep shloka. But just for example, this Jagai Madai did so abominable activities. Their life was full of abominable things. But once they took to the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then they were considered saintly. Even though whatever their background was, they're still considered saintly. So that way, even if someone was involved in most abominable activities, but if they become Krishna conscious and engaged in devotional service, then they are no more abominable. Their existence is purifying to the whole environment. And I can draw a corollary like that. For example, if a child is trying to walk and the child falls down many times, the mother and someone comes to the house and sees child wobbling and walking and falling, and that person who has come to the house starts mocking on the child that, oh my God, you don't know how to walk. You have two legs, you have proper height, why are you not able to walk? And mocks at them. But the mother will come. What will the mother do? She will scold the person. Don't you see that my child is trying? Don't you see that? Do you only see him falling? Don't you see the trying, the part of it? That way Krishna is. That don't you see that I'm trying or my devotee is trying? He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace, O son of Kunti. Declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So he asked Arjuna to declare that my devotee Name Bhakta Pranashayati, that my devotee never perishes. Why does he ask his devotee to declare? Because sometimes Krishna lies. Krishna lies to Mother Yashoda that he has stolen butter, he has eaten dirt. Or Krishna lies to gopis that yes, I'm going to come back. He never comes back to Vrindavan. So that's why he asked his devotee to declare that you declare and I'll keep your word. That my devotee never perishes, no matter how small it is. In Ramayana also there is a pastime, right? That what is that? The squirrel and the Garuda. The squirrel, the bird. The bird had lost her eggs. The ocean had taken her eggs, and she was
Yes,
very
ma'am,
angry.
Sparrow and ocean.
Yes, so she was very angry at the ocean and ordered the ocean to return her eggs. Otherwise, she'll empty the ocean. So the ocean is laughing at the bird that you're so small, I am so big. How will you empty me? But she's so determined that she starts drop by drop emptying, and the ocean is mocking. So Garuda sees this, and Garuda comes, and then Garuda gets very angry at ocean and says that, don't you see that she's asking you something and you're not doing it? Don't you see? If you don't honor the order, then I will personally empty you. So then the ocean gives back the eggs to this mother bird. Like that, Krishna will make sure that our devotion is completed. He will make sure. But our endeavor, we can only just become determined and desire. That's all. नमाम ही पार्थ व्यपाश्रित्या ये अपि शिव पाप योनया स्त्रियो वैश्य तथा शूद्र से अपि यान्ति पराम गतिम. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, vaishyas as well as shudras can approach the supreme destination. So everybody can approach Krishna. He's open to everyone. So this verse, please memorize. This is the last verse. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evashyasi yuktevam atmanam mad parayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So man mana bhava mad bhakto. Engage your mind on always thinking of me. Why is mind so uncontrolled? Why? Because mind does not have is looking for something that it needs to be fixed on. So what does it need to be fixed on? Naturally, it has a tendency to be fixed on Krishna, naturally. But we are trying to fix it on something else, and it's never going to be happy. Prabhupada gives example that if there is a child, a small child is crying, and the child is taken care of by so many people, and they are trying to allure the child by toys or by music or by rocking. But the minute the mother comes and carries the child stops crying. So like that, mind naturally will be uncontrolled if I don't train it to fix back in Krishna, naturally. Okay. So this is the summary, 1st to 10th verse, Bhagavat Aishwarya Jnana, glories of the secret knowledge. You must remember what is the secret, who is eligible, what is the qualification of Krishna, and why is this a king of knowledge? Why is everything else not a king? Rajavidra Rajguhyam. What are the ways to approach Krishna? 11 to 25. Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. Sweetness of exclusive devotion, 26 to 35. Man Mana Bhav Mad Bhakto. Again and again he's saying that you come to me, come to me, come to me. This is a love letter. Bhagavad Gita is a love letter from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am like this, you are like this, and we both have a relationship like this, and we both can enjoy life like this. This is the love letter. Krishna has given a 700 shloka love letter to each one of us so that we can fall in love with him and go back. Okay, I have some announcements before I take up questions. One is I need help. I need 2 volunteers from this classroom because Namanishta Prabhu wants to do this. And this is only for English class, and right now main English teachers are me and they can't see. Okay, I'm gonna share my thank you. So Prabhu wants to make questions a little different. So I want someone, please write to me, 2 people who can help me. What is going to happen is we'll have to email these questions to each one of you. And 2 people will have to, I'm asking, I'm requesting if 2 of all the people who are coming in this class can help me to check the answers. I can explain what it means that once you volunteer. So please write to me on WhatsApp if you are willing, and I'll explain what it means. These are the questions which are going to come to you. Forget about the quiz on the internet. And some of them are open book question. Open book means, like for example, this question, explain the terms Yogekshvaram, Yogam Eshwaram, 9.5 verse, or Udasina Vat, 9.9 verse, or Manushim Tandumashitam, 9.11 verse. So means I'm asking you this question, you have to write the answer. You can open Bhagavad Gita and read and then answer. That's fine. Once you send it, once you complete it, then you have to send it. So I need help who can actually check the answers with me. Please text me. The chat on the WhatsApp is not saved. So please text me on WhatsApp. I'm sorry. The chat on Zoom is not saved. So please text me on WhatsApp. I am getting some responses. Thank you so much. And one more thing I want to say is, can we read this, please? This is a very nice article. This is from dandavat.com. Dandavat is ISKCON's website where everyday new articles are published. sometimes twice a day. So if someone can please read this by Bhakti Charu Swami, Vaishnavas are like swan. Can someone please mute themselves and read?
Shall I read? Mataji?
Sure, Mataji. A Vaishnava.
Yeah, Vaishnava does not want to criticize anyone. For example, in Vrindavan, there was one very, very exalted Vaishnava. One day, there was a Mahotsava, a festival. Many people were invited. This person noticed that one Vaishnava was not there. So he questioned what happened to him. Somebody said that he has done this and that, so we did not invite him. This very senior Vaishnava got up and started to walk to the door. When asked why he was leaving, he said, "For such a small little fault, you have rejected him. You do not know all the faults that I have. I know that if you get to know about them, you will reject me also. Before that happens, I decided to leave." That is the mood of a Vaishnava. He is as humble as a blade of grass. If we want to become Vaishnavas, we should not fight faults. Those who are in management, they have this thankless task of finding out all the garbage and trying to rectify. We should leave it to them. Materialistic people are gossip mongers. They say, he did this, he did that. All their joy is derived from speaking badly about others. When we speak badly about someone, we are actually taking his bad karma. Before speaking ill of someone, be aware of that fact. You are actually ridding him of his bad karma and accepting it yourself. You are causing great injury to your own spiritual life. Mahaprabhu told Raghunatha Dasa Goswami not to indulge in mundane discussion. Mundane discussion means speaking badly about others, backbiting. This fault finding and backbiting causes the heart to shrink, whereas Krishna consciousness is the process that expands the heart. A Vaishnava derives joy by glorifying devotees. Devotees are the reservoir of good qualities. If out of hundreds of good qualities someone displays one bad quality, it should not be magnified. Make it a point to create a very nice atmosphere by glorifying others. That is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted. Desiring no respect, glorification, adoration for ourselves, we should offer all respect, glorification, and adoration to the Vaishnavas. See how wonderfully he is rendering his service. He has offered himself to adoration to the Vaishnavas. He has offered himself to Srila Prabhupada. That is how we should see every Vaishnava, what to speak of a very senior devotee. Then a very nice atmosphere will be created. Vaishnavas are like swans. They live in a very clean lake. The crows live wherever there is garbage. This becomes very obvious in Calcutta in the morning. When we were in Calcutta, I used to chant on the rooftop sometimes. I would see that there are crows and there are pigeons. The pigeons would fly to the rooftops. People would throw grains and the pigeons would take the grains, but no crows would come. They would just gravitate towards the garbage.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nicely read. You read very nicely. See, so this is what we have to become. Vaishnavas are like swan because we are going to go back to Krishna. We are getting ready to board the flight to go back. We are packing up our karma here. So this is the quality. The only person who can find fault in another person is the person who can elevate that living entity to more Krishna consciousness. Like Srila Prabhupada would use the word rascal, mudha, right? Or lechas, yavanas, you lechas, like that he would say. But out of intense affection, that you are so proud of yourself, but you are nothing. So that's all. So please cultivate this consciously. Consciously, you have to cultivate it, right? It's a learned behavior. Right now, the environment that we are in, the natural behavior is to find fault, defect, complaints. So please cultivate this. Okay, if someone has any questions, please ask question, and then I have one more thing to say. Does someone has any question?
Hare
I'm going
Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Can we take the chapter 9 quiz today, or we have to wait until you say?
I think the chapter 9 quiz for English is removed. Let me go.
No,
Because
I just checked. I found the link.
does it have long questions?
Yeah, the way you showed the verses where we have to write the long text, the answers, I found that.
Okay, let me see. Thank you. I'm showing you my screen. So, oh, by the way, this is the course material. We are referring to these books. If someone would like to want and have them, this is where we are referring most of our things. Please feel free to purchase. So, this is the quiz, right? You found here chapter 9. What is
Yes,
that?
Mataji.
Oh, wonderful. It is happening. Can you wait a little, because yesterday we had a meeting. So if you answer here, I will not get it because you are in my class. It is my responsibility to find out how many of you are understanding properly and how many of you are not. So I will not get it. It's going to go to a very common pool, and I don't want all of you to end up in a common
Is it
pool.
only this chapter or other chapters also we have
We
to
are
wait?
developing. We are developing. Chapter 8 is also done. Yesterday we did it, chapter 8. So I'm going to try with chapter 9 with the two of my volunteers, and I'll talk to Prabhu. Very good question. Let me just get back, and I'll get back to all of you. My understanding is that I will do it with all of you. Other languages are not having this. Like Telugu, if I open chapter 8, it's still the MCQs. No long questions. Okay, I'll get back to you. Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Chapter 8 and 9, no, Mataji.
Just chapter 8 and 9 right
Okay.
now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
I have some chat questions. Where is it? Does anyone have any other question?
Yes,
I am
ma'am.
trying to. Yes, Nataji.
Yes, is Sanatana Dharma is also what we call as Hindu, or is that a different one?
Were you there when we read Srila Prabhupada's lecture in Isopanishad? Were you there, Mataji?
I think no, ma'am.
So Sanatan Dharma means which is the eternal quality of a living entity. That is the meaning. Sanatan means which stays for forever, does not die, does not grow old, never grows. It stays basically. So that is the meaning of the word Sanatan. And Dharma means religion, right? Religion means the quality of an individual. And Prabhupada explains that the quality of a sugar is to be sweet. So I'm just gonna go back to the same thing. Isopanishad, introduction teaching of the Vedas. Here Srila Prabhupada says, Mataji, can you read this? You may call the Vedas Hindu.
Yes, ma'am. You may call the Vedas Hindu, but Hindu is a foreign name. We are not Hindus. Our real identification is Varnashrama. Varnashrama denotes the followers of the Vedas, those who accept the human society in 8 divisions of Varna and Ashrama. There are 4 divisions of society and 4 divisions of spiritual life. This is called Varnashrama. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, these divisions are everywhere because they are created by God. The divisions of society are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Brahmana refers to very intelligent class of men, those who know what is Brahman. Brahman. Similarly, the Kshatriyas, the administrator group, are the intelligent class of men. Then the Vaishyas, the mercantile group. These natural classifications are found everywhere. This is the Vedic principle and we accept it. Vedic principles are accepted in axiomatic truth, for there cannot be any mistake. That is acceptance. For instance, in India, cow dung is accepted as pure, and yet cow dung is the stool of an animal. In one place, you will find the Vedic injunction that if you touch stool, you have to take a bath immediately. But in another place, it is said that the stool of a cow is pure. If you smear cow dung in an impure place, that place becomes pure. With your ordinary sense, we can argue this is contradictory. Actually, it is contradictory from the ordinary point of view, but it is not false. it is the fact. In Calcutta, a prominent scientist and doctor analyzed cow dung and found that it contains all antiseptic properties.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So here Prabhupada is saying Hindu is a foreign name. So Prabhupada says Hindu word is not used in any literature. You read Srimad Bhagavatam, you read Bhagavad Gita, you go through Chaitanya Charitamrita, go to Chaitanya Bhagavat, go through every Veda, word Hindu is not there. Hindu word comes from a time when I think it was Afghans, that there was people living on the east side of the river Sindhu. That also Srila Prabhupada says. So those people started calling them who are on the east side of Sindhu as Hindu. So that became like a natural, and down the lane we all got contaminated with that label. It's a label only. Sanatan Dharma means eternal quality of a living entity. And what is the eternal quality of a living entity? Jivara Sarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. That I am the eternal servant of Krishna. That is Sanatan Dharma. Meaning of the word Sanatan Dharma is Jivara Sarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. That I am the eternal servant of Krishna, Nitya Krishna Das. So what was the question you asked? I kind of forgot. Because I got stuck with Hindu and Sanatan Dharma.
Is Sanatan Dharma is also Hindu in the sense, is they both are same or not? I guess.
So what is the answer now? The answer is Hindu is a label. Sanatan Dharma is the quality of a living entity, and living entity means wherever, across the globe, across planets, upper and lower, everywhere, same quality. So Hindu is accepted by people who are very narrow-minded, that and live with labels on their heads, that I am this, I am that. But actually, we are Prabhupada is saying our real identification is Varna Ashrama. Okay, so Hindu word please cancel, and Sanatan Dharma, yes, everybody. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else has any question? I want to ask one question. Can you see the screen? Please answer this question. How many of you have started chanting after attending this course? Yes, I'm chanting daily at least one round of Maha Mantra. Yes, I'm chanting but not counting. I'm thinking about it seriously, but I have some questions. No, I have not started chanting yet. Can you see the vote, please? Okay, I'll give a few more minutes. Yeah, in the chat, I have some questions. Okay, I'm gonna end in 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's share the results. So 50%, not everybody is in the class now, but yes, I'm chanting but not counting. And then, yes, I'm chanting at least one round of Maha Mantra. I'm thinking about it seriously, but I have some questions. One person. So please ask your questions. No, I have not started chanting yet. Please connect with us and we can discuss very humbly and very nicely. And then again, the choice will be yours, whether you want to do it or not, but we'll be happy to honor the questions. Thank you for the answers. So I always get this response the highest. Yes, I'm chanting but not counting. So I thought that we will come up with this, that counting is given by who? Who has given us that we have to count? So Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Chapter 1, Characteristics of Pure Devotional Service. Okay, so here Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada describes about different types of bhakti. He says devotional service, let me see, where is it? That he says that there is sadhana bhakti and then there is prema bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means the bhakti that follows certain discipline. That I have to, can someone read this? That I have to follow some discipline. And the example is like, let's say someone is learning how to drive a car. How much discipline that person has to follow? Where is the accelerator? Where is the clutch? Where is the brake? what mirror is for what are the rules and regulations and laws of this place, where do I sit, right or left, how do I press the gas pedal, very smoothly or very hard, how do I put the seat belt or not, do I put my license and car papers in the car, so much, right, so much rules and regulation one has to follow. But following that rules and regulation, driving becomes a natural part of that person. Now when this person is driving, then that person is talking on the Bluetooth, listening to music, following on the laws, just and doing everything. That is the goal of sadhana bhakti, is to end up in prema bhakti, which is natural, but we are not there yet. So maybe we can read a little bit. This we can read more about it tomorrow, but if someone can read me this paragraph which I have highlighted. Rubana Mataji, you can unmute yourself and read. Please.
Here is general description of devotional service given by Sri Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Previously, it has been stated that devotional service can be divided into 3 categories, namely devotional service in practice, devotional service in ecstasy, and devotional service in pure love
Of God. Now Sri Rupa Goswami proposes to describe devotional service in practice. Mataji, somehow your voice.
Sorry, ma'am. Mataji, my screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Gone, I'm sorry.
So devotional service in practice, and Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada describes devotional service in practice. Practice means employing our senses in some particular type of work. Therefore, devotional service in practice means utilizing our different sensory organs in service to Krishna. Some of the senses are meant for acquiring knowledge, some are meant for executing the conclusions of our thinking, feeling, and willing. So practice means employing both the mind and senses in practical devotional service. This practice is not for developing something artificial. For example, a child learns or practices to walk. This walking is not unnatural. The walking capacity is there originally in the child, and simply by little practice, he walks very nicely. Similarly, devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the natural instinct of every living entity. Even uncivilized men like the aborigines offer their respectful obeisances to something wonderful by nature's law, and they appreciate that behind some wonderful exhibition or action, there is something supreme. So this consciousness, though lying dormant in those who are materially contaminated, is found in every living entity. And when purified, this is called Krishna consciousness. So there are certain prescribed methods. So he goes on to explain that there are certain rules and regulations in sadhana bhakti. And chanting 16 rounds minimum is one of the rules and regulations that we must follow, because it's a part of sadhana bhakti. If someone says I am not counting, then they are actually not following the acharyas. They are still following their own mind. So I'm trying to bring all of you to a standard where we can follow what acharyas are saying, and they're giving evidences. They're not just saying one day sleeping I got a dream and I got up and I gave you these rules. They're mentioned. So please count, because our acharyas were counting. Raghunath Das Goswami was actually counting how many obeisances he is paying in a day. He had a vow of paying 100 obeisances in a day. So he was counting not only his rounds, but the number of obeisances he's paying, because that gives discipline. And we want discipline if we want to end up with Prema Bhakti. Okay, this is my reference. Okay, I have some questions in the chat. Hare Krishna, Mataji, how I understand this? Krishna is in every one of us, in every little particle in the world, but still we aren't in him, because we still are yet to surrender completely to him. We need to completely surrender to him. Only then it will be like he is in us and we are into him. Mataji, what is the question here? Lami, can you elaborate the question, Mataji, if you're still here? That how do you understand how Krishna is in us? Krishna is in every one of us. Well, then follow the rules and regulation of sadhana bhakti. And the realization will come as a gift. Okay, what if a person that person is just acting to escape from prison? Oh, you mean that person who, what is this question? That person is acting to just escape from prison. Kumar Smith, are you here? Please elaborate your question. Kumar Smith role. What if that person is just acting to escape prison? Are you saying that just acting means just acting to be a devotee of Krishna so that we'll get out of the prison and we'll get back to its obnoxious activities? Is that the question? Am I understanding it correct? Are you still here, whoever wrote this question? What if that person is just acting? Then that person is at loss. Yeah, we cannot cheat God. God will always be one step ahead. Like Hiranyakashipu tried to cheat, right, Krishna, by taking all benedictions from Brahma that make me immortal. He said, I can't because I am myself not immortal. He said, okay, then give me a benediction that I cannot be killed by any weapon made of all these things. I cannot be killed in inside or outside, cannot be killed in air, land, or water. He thought he became immortal. So he thought, Prabhupada says there, he cheated God. Krishna one step higher. He cheated himself. He never thought that Krishna will come as Narasimhadev and kill him sitting in the lap on the edge of a room in the evening with his nails. That person is a cheater, and he's just going to his hellish life again. Ma'am, I have a question that if Arjuna had agreed to wage war with Kauravas in first attempt, the birth of Bhagavad Gita shlokas wouldn't have emerged in the world, isn't it? And my other curiosity is how much time did Krishna take to teach Bhagavad Gita shlokas and teaching to Arjuna in the war? Scene. Any other devotee, can you help me? I think it was 45 minutes. Is it 45 minutes that Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita and Arjuna understood it? Aishwarya Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. 45
Okay.
minutes.
Yes, yeah, 45 minutes. And if Krishna would not have chosen Bhagavad Gita, it wouldn't have come out. I don't know the proper answer. I don't know, because whatever Krishna wants, Krishna will do it. Krishna is not dependent on a war to say whatever he has to say. But there are too many things. You see, whatever Krishna does, there is always an internal reason and an external reason. This is an external reason from what I am understanding. And other devotees, please pitch in. Ashwarya Mataji, Sarveshwar, Sham Sundar, Prabhu, or any other devotees. This looks like an external reason that there has to be a war and Bhagavad Gita has to be spoken. Internal reason, I don't know. Probably because he wants to have his devotee bewildered, put in bewilderment, and tell it to him, and then show how a devotee should act. So I am not sure about the internal reason, but this looks like an external reason.
Ma'am, the internal reason which I heard was from our parampara, like it's like when Krishna was going for the field to graze the cows, the gopis, because he was not wearing slippers, and so the gopis, they all were cleaning the Vrindavan with all the stones and all. They were just taking it away so that Krishna's soft legs won't get hurt. And so they did seva to Krishna, and Krishna couldn't repay it back. And then Krishna can't speak Bhagavad Gita in Vrindavan because nobody will take it seriously. So he went to in a Kurukshetra war, and then from there he used Arjuna as a mediator, and then he spoke it so that indirectly he is taking out the stones from our life, because gopis have taken stones from his life. Like it's like any burden, any hurdles in our life is all stones in our path. So it's like Krishna is repaying them back. But it's just this, not like they didn't give any reference, but it's just like that they've said.
Okay, I am not sure. Okay, thank you. I am not sure. See, Krishna is in Prabhupada. I've heard Srila Prabhupada saying that when Krishna is killing demons or Krishna is fighting a war, then Krishna is expanded himself as Vasudev Krishna. That's the internal bhava. He's not original Krishna, because original Krishna is in Goloka Vrindavan. He's eternally enjoying. So I don't know, Mataji. I have never heard of this, but thank you for sharing. I'm a bit confused from yesterday. I'm sorry to confuse you on the concept of Trimurti working for Krishna. Is there a reason why Krishna came as an avatar of Vishnu, one of the Trimurtis? Who is asking this question? Gayatri. Krishna comes as an avatar of Vishnu, so that statement itself is not Shastric. Krishna is avatari. He gives birth to avatars. Ete cha anshakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. Ete cha anshakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. All these are plenary expansions or portions of plenary expansions of Krishna, but Krishna is the original person. So everybody, original source is Krishna. Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. So Vishnu and Krishna, there is no much difference. There is no much difference. If, for example, Bhishma Dev could, when he was leaving his body, he was very attached to four-handed form of Narayana. He was very attached to that. Even though he knew that Krishna is the very source of that four-handed form, and that very source of that four-handed form is present before him, he still wanted to leave his body looking at the four-handed form of Narayana and not the two-handed original form of Krishna, which Krishna honored. Krishna did not say that I am original, you look at me and leave. Krishna honored the request of his devotee, and he showed his four-handed Narayana form to Bhishma Dev when he was leaving his body. But this is a technical question. Don't get into it. Please chant. It will be revealed. But if someone wants to find out, then Krishna is the supreme, because Krishna has 64 qualities in complete. Vishnu has 60. Is it 60? Lord Shiva has 55 or 45, something like that. Some math is given by the acharyas. 4 qualities are exclusive to Krishna. I always forget the 4th one. I'm sorry, I still have to do that homework. Krishna, 4 qualities are exclusive. What are the 4 qualities? I only remember 3. Rupa Madhurya, Krishna's form is exclusive to Krishna. It's not duplicated. Venu Madhurya, Krishna's flute, sweetness of his flute is exclusive to Krishna, not duplicated. Prema Madhurya, the loving affairs that he has with his devotees, is very exclusive to Krishna, not duplicated. And yes, I think it is Lila Madhurya. Lila Madhurya is the pastimes of Krishna are exclusive to Krishna, not duplicated. So these are the 4 qualities which are exclusive to Krishna. Vishnu has 60. Don't have this 4 which I just explained. Lord Shiva has, I want to say 45. In Brahma Samhita, I have to go back and refer. But the technical question, if you are attached to Vishnu form of Krishna, please worship it, please, because it's direct expansion. Okay. So Hare Krishna Mataji, during the start of the day, I said, I think because I feel I'm still not authentic to perceive Gita as it is needed to elevate to higher level. Thank you, Mataji. But Prabhu, are you appreciating? Ravi Prabhu? Is that I should take it as an appreciation? Are you still here?
You can find him.
I'm trying to find a participant. Not. Okay, if it is an appreciation, then thank you. But honestly, I did not understand it properly. Okay, does anyone has any other question? Should we meet tomorrow? Please chant. Please keep account. All this is authentic. Nothing is concocted. Nothing is mental fanaticism. Okay. Somebody asked me yesterday, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as incarnation of Krishna, and what are the references? Are you still here? Whoever asked me this question, please tell me, because I have the references. Yes or no? Does anyone know who asked this question yesterday? That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the incarnation or not? Where is the reference? Does anybody remember? I don't know who it was, and I don't even know if they came today or not. Okay, tomorrow in the middle of the class, I'll ask this question because I have the references. Does anyone has any other questions?
Sadi, what is obeisances?
What is what, Prabhu?
Obeisances.
I can't hear. What is
Obeisances.
Who can you type because your voice, or can you bring the speaker towards closer to your mouth because there's a lot of muffling? What is what? Obeisances?
Said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was counting his obeisances 108 times.
Raghunath Das Goswami was counting his obeisances. Obeisances means Dandavat
Obeisances.
Pranam. Dandavat Pranam.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He was
Dandavat
counting.
Pranam. Okay. 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 And then can you just explain the? Can you explain that method of counting in the beads?
Oh, do you have beads? You have beads?
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. So yes, so one round is 108 beads. So one round means when I say one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it means I have counted 108 times the Mahamantra. So these beads, I have these beads. All these beads are 108 are in number. And on each and every bead, we chant the whole mantra using the middle finger and the thumb. We don't use the index finger. That's what Srila Prabhupada taught us. And we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then go to the next bead and chant the whole thing again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Like that. That's 108 is one round. And Prabhupada recommended minimum 16. So 16 multiplied by 108. Okay. Tomorrow is
But you are telling that you should not cross over that main bead.
The Sakshi Gopal. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. So for example, I start chanting from this bead, and I end in this bead.
Yeah.
So if I want to chant the second round, then the last bead becomes the first bead. So I turn.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So tomorrow is Ekadashi.
Thank you.
Ekadashi is very dear to Krishna. Please try to fast from grains and chant more. Minimum 25 rounds on Ekadashi. More rules and regulations, right? But let's at least chant Hare Krishna, please. Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow. Chapter 10, Opulences of Krishna. A very sweet chapter. No more questions? We can close off? Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai. Hare Krishna.